What's up, everyone? And we are here for another episode of Spin from the Reel. Once again, I am Matt. Joining me as always is the personality himself, Chris Anthony Lopez.
Yo, another pre-tape. It's our second pre-tape in like a month, and I don't like it. Granted, I love doing the live show because I love the interaction that we get all the time. It's a great time doing the live show, but I mean, due to the holidays, and we want to have a show this week still. And due to scheduling, the both of us, like at first it was you, and then it became me, and now it's the both of us. So it was a toughie to do the show or to pre-tape it, but now we're still getting the show. We're still doing the show, and that's what I'm super jazzed about.
Doing the show is what's the most important, and yeah, it's weird not being able to have our guy Leo Logan pop up in the chat.
Yeah, you see that scoop he had? I know. Spoiler alert: we pre-taped this on a Tuesday. We see that scoop. My man's out here dropping scoops on the Facebook group. Yo, shout out to you, Leo Logan. I know we're not live, but I hope you're watching. Yeah, that's the homie right there, Leo Logan. I hope he knows that. He made a fan out of me. I'm his number one fan.
Yeah, no,
I'm a mark.
We got a fun episode. We don't know how long it'll be because with it being pre-recorded, we focused on one thing, and we hope to give you more when we're live. That's what we aim for, because the fan we have to be honest, the fan interaction adds a big portion to what the show is. So
totally, and I don't want to harp on this because the second we start, I'm going to start crying about it. So we're going to talk about. I mean, y'all saw the title. We're talking about free agency because the last couple of weeks, people have been running wild with speculation. And there's sources telling people that, this person's talking to multiple factions, and this person already knows where they're going to sign. Well, we don't know that. Matt and I don't know. We don't have the scoop like how some people do. I see y'all.
And as Christian said, people could have these agreements in place and change their mind during
the day of. Mm-hmm. The damn day of, bro. So I don't even want to. I don't want to say everyone's a lock, but that's what we're here to talk about, to see who is a lock and see who's not a lock for all the factions. Because really, with the exception of maybe two factions, if I keep looking down, it's because I'm writing everything down. Yeah. But with the exception of two factions, everything else is blown wide open, at least for the most part, to me. There are some obvious locks amongst the other six factions, but I am totally in the mindset where only two factions are 100% locked to me. Even then, one of them is only 100% locked to me. So with all this crazy stuff going on in the free agency portion, well, man, I just want to break this down, and hopefully we can come to a conclusion on who's going where. And like I mentioned, there's only one faction that's 1,000% locked.
And that is corruption itself.
Corruption. Faction of the year, baby. But I don't want to harp on them too much today because, we already know what they're capable of, really. Mike Kalinowski, triple threat player, and can be really damn good in all three. Chance Ellison had a kick-ass 2020. Regardless of how it ended, he had a kick-ass 2020. Another triple division player. And then, say his name with me, the Coyote, Adam Collins, the champion. He's their third. So, I mean, that's a kick-ass 3. If I say so myself. If I say so myself, that's a kick-ass 3, bro. That's how you start. That's how you start free agency. And she was so confident. And I mean, so it was the worst kept secret in the Schmodown.
Mm-hmm.
It was the worst kept secret. But when we heard it, it's like, everybody was like, oh, we got it. But that raised more questions on the other people from corruption and where they could go. And that's what we're here to chat about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. As good as gone in the first round, but I know we talked about this a little with Craig when we had him on, the Barbarian himself.
Yeah, totally.
She's draft bound. There's no way around it. She's draft bound.
Part of me still thinks she can be top 24.
I'm not saying she's not top 24 potential. I'm saying she just would prefer to.
She will not return to corruption. Is what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is she would rather take her chances of being in the draft and having corruption get her themselves than sign with someone. That's where I'm leaning towards.
And yeah, that's where, because it sucks, right? If there was a fourth spot, that's all Marisol's, 1,000%. If they're doing top fours, Marisol's the 4, lock, not even close. But that's not the case. You only get 3 per faction, and that's how they're going to do it. But part of me thinks that she won't fall to the draft because Marisol's character, right? We only got to see her. We met her in August, right?
Yeah, we got 4 matches with her total.
Yeah, so I mean, she can, not to break kayfabe too much, but she can be like, "Yo, Shannon left me out to dry like that, like so easy, bro. Wasn't even a thought, bro." And then she can play that route and go somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't think she would because Shannon made sure when she announced her 3, saying, "Don't think that means I forgot about my girls, this, that, and the other. You draft her, I'm making her. You draft them, I'm making, or try to sign them, I'm making your life a living hell."
And that's my queen, right? She's the queen of corruption, Shannon Barney. But I think you really gotta be on one to think Marisol's gonna fall to the last spot of the first round. I don't think she will. No.
There's still the possibility of trade.
Bro, you gotta give up. That's draft picks.
Is it though? Is it though? Because let's be honest. The fact that
your first 2 picks are gone if you try to trade for Marisol. Your first 2 picks are gone.
No, your first and your 3rd or 4th is probably gone. That's how trades work. Like that. I'm residential sports guy here.
Screw me. Yeah, I don't watch sports ball.
The big sports guy. The big sports guy here. The one who harps.
But people aren't going to make it that easy, though.
I know people aren't going to make it that easy.
And you got it. And you're going to try. What are you going to include? A Mike or Chance? There's legitimately no chance in corruption that will happen.
Hey, they allowed managers to include future picks last year. So
and we saw how that panned out. That one trade became null and void.
There was a couple trades that did, and that's not their fault.
You're right.
They just lucked out.
But there's no way Marisol falls. Oh God! It depends on how stacked the first round is. Truly, it really does depend.
Marisol
might fall, especially with how I got everything lined up. Marisol might fall in the 2nd round. Like she and corruption. If Shannon if she believes that much in her, like how we do, or excuse me, like how I do, then Shannon could pick her up. But there could be a lot of players left on the table who are arguably better than Marisol.
Correct yourself to like we do, because I said even when Craig was on, she's a 1st-round draft player.
Damn right. I'm glad we can agree on something corruption. See, he gets it. He's trying to get it. But what I'm trying to say is there could be a lot of players within the 1st round that are arguably better than Marisol, depending on how you look at it.
Not even that, and this is why we're here. We're here to talk free agency.
Exactly.
How free agency pans out is going to be a big portion of that. Our team's going to be going more so for specialty players. Shannon has to worry about specialty players a little less than others in Inner Geekdom, but when it comes to Star Wars, she really does have to worry about that. Lucky for her, she's got back-to-back picks.
And there's going to be a plethora, and I don't want to crap on the division, but the Star Wars players will not be top priority. There may be, unless you play 2 divisions, you're not going to be top priority.
Oh, here's what I'll say, because
especially with Alex as your champion.
We talked about this a little bit last week, and we said we'd save it for this week.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
We've said 3 matches. It's announced 3 matches a week. Yeah. We know we're not getting teams until we at least go to studio.
Yeah.
If that were to happen, the Schmodown has always been: you get a match from this division this day, you get a match from this division this day. Do we start seeing, because we're of the 4 divisions, one is not going to happen?
Sure. To start, yeah.
You could start realistically. You could start seeing Star Wars Wednesday, Thursdays IG, Fridays singles.
1,000%, and I totally agree with you. But the second Teams is back, Star Wars will get the shaft.
No, I think when Teams back, you switch that and that and IG every other week, or that.
Ooh, man, that's yeah, but jeez.
It's a good way to keep it fair and balanced. It's a good way to keep it fair and balanced.
If we're trying to keep it fair and balanced, then then the schedule changes every week, and then we just don't see one division play every week. You know what I mean? That's if we're trying to keep it fair. But we're gonna give IG and Star Wars because they're relatively this. There's a lot of overlap between
they're similar,
and there's similar demos.
There's overlap. Exactly.
People who watch Star Wars watch IG and vice versa.
You're not going to lose your views. That's the thing. You're still going to probably keep the same views.
But I still stand by my point. Like, Star Wars players will not be prioritized, especially if the first round is stacked. And I kind of just want to get to the factions, because we keep talking about hypothetical first round. But we gotta get there first, and we gotta do these factions first. And as we mentioned, Corruption is the only one that's a lock. Mike, Chance, and Adam Collins, arguably the perfect team. But then the Stars are probably the next lock of the three, because we know Roxy's gonna pick Jeff Snyder, Mark Andreyko, as she should. The Odd Couple, the team champs. That third pick will probably be Alex Damon.
Yeah.
Because he's a Star Wars champ. You have 3 players as champions in your faction? My God, that's a kick-ass faction.
You know who Roxy sounds like right now? Or who Roxy is right now? Likes to do nothing but criticize? Tom Dagnino. Just have to put it out there. You started off with the faction of champions. Guess what, hon? You're about to too.
Everything Matt Thomas says does not represent the views of Spin from the Real. He reflects himself and himself only.
But it's a fair point.
No, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
It's a fair point, because you can't ever say that to Tom again, because Tom helped get Founding Fathers to a singles or to the team's championship.
Mm-hmm.
He got Ben to a championship, which helped protect Riley.
Yeah, but then they placed third. Because it was from the beginning, from the jump, the Finstock Exchange. This is their season to lose.
Yeah,
and they placed third.
And I get that, but that
was crazy on paper.
And I think that a lot of that had to do with the faction infighting, which I know Christian said he's going to do his best to nullify that this year.
Finally, my prayers have been answered, because no one likes it. No one likes it. It doesn't make any sense. And now the Finstock Exchange makes sense of it, especially towards the end of the year. Thanks, Ben Bateman. But yeah, I totally agree with what you said. I don't want to hear anyone talking any flack about, why would they start with a faction full of champions? Because it's smart. Because it's a good play. Why would you not want to start?
She's trying to say he's not a good manager because he started with the faction full of champions.
So, like, Tom has been a pivotal portion, and I know next week, little spoiler for next week's show, we're going to talk about the awards.
Yeah,
because the awards noms came out a couple days ago, but we're not here to talk about that right now. But what I will say is Tom's a kick-ass manager even before factions became a thing. Like, faction wars became a thing.
Let's be honest. Factions are here because of Tom Dagnino.
See? That's a 1,000%. 1,000%. Hell yeah. So, Roxy, on paper, has her 3 locked. The Odd Couple and Damon. All right, great. So now, before we start breaking down the other ones, are there any other locks in your eyes?
I know we talked a little bit about this pre-show, and I'm going to get into it now.
Please go ahead.
The Mercs are a virtual lock in my eyes.
Let's talk about it. Go ahead.
For me, the Mercs are going to protect Shazam, no brainer.
Mm-hmm.
And for their third player, they will protect Kevin Smith.
Oh man, now that's where you lose me, dude.
And I know
not that Kevin's bad, and I get why you would want Kevin Smith, but I mean, okay, so let's be real. the Mercs, if you had Bibbs and the kid, that's a great team. 2 great singles players. You had those divisions on lock.
Pretty sure they brought you the majority of your points this year also.
1,000%. But then you're lacking an inner geekdom from a team that was formerly named after Deadpool. You're gonna unless Kevin does inner geekdom.
I think he could hold his own. I'm gonna be honest.
I want to see it, and we haven't seen it yet, so I can't. I'm not gonna say he's bad. I'm not gonna say he's good. I'm neutral. I'm impartial. But do you start the season off, at least before the draft, sans a inner geekdom player going into the draft?
I think Shazam is one of the few teams that could get away with it.
Because of how stacked they are teams and singles?
Yes.
Because even how you were talking with how important Star Wars is going to be this year, that's half the divisions before the draft.
Hear me out. They are in what I like to call the best. I know some people call it the worst position of a snake draft. Some people call it the best. I am under the opinion it's the best. They are like smack dab in the middle. They're like number 4, if I remember correctly. So they're 4 and 5 every round. They are 4 and 5. Their draft position is not changing, basically. They don't have to wait fit our 14 other picks in between, like the dungeon and corruption, which is This is why a snake draft does not work, people. This is why a snake draft does not work.
The option for your snake draft, has Christian said why he chose a snake draft?
No.
I would love to know why.
But I think because we know that the focus is going to be on teams and the specialties, or not teams, singles and the specialties, because we aren't going to have any teams.
Yeah.
You have 2 guys that you can ride.
In one division, though.
In one division. But here's the thing. For now. And then you maybe test the waters and then geek them. Maybe with that first pick, you go out and get your IG player.
And that's what you have to do. You have to do that.
But here's the thing. Because it's the 4th overall pick, you can do that. You can take that risk.
So I'm still not sold on Smith top 3. Again, I get why you would put him there. I'm just not sold. I don't think it's a lock.
Here's the thing. I think because of his relationship with Coy, and let me pull up the Merc Swap faction roster.
And that, all these peeps are tight with their managers, though, unless you're Brandon Hanna and you're the manager yourself. But I think that...
Well, here. Realistically, the only there's been talk, and that's been all over the Twitterverse. Mara may be looking elsewhere.
Yes, I saw. I did see that, and I put that in my brain because she didn't play this year.
Yeah,
and so she didn't play for Coy technically.
You want to know what Coy would be smart to do? Somehow get both members of Real Rejects back, because there's 2 IG players. There's 2 of your IG,
and that's another team.
Exactly.
But that solely depends on the draft, and Greg and John. As much as I love them,
my thing is, you look at the makeup, and I'm looking at the makeup of his roster: Brendan Meyer, Greg Elba, Haley Fouch, John Humphrey, Scrimshaw, Kevin Smith, Mark Knopic, Perry Nemiroff, Tim Franco, William Viviani. He doesn't have a lot of IG players.
And maybe that's something he'd want to change going into next year.
But here's the thing. I don't think he would, because if I'm going to be honest, I think going into next season, Coy's roster is going to look very similar to what it looks like now.
I wouldn't be surprised, especially with the witching power, because I think the witching power, both of them will fall into the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I don't want to have another Finstock exchange situation where it's Bibbs and the kid going at each other in singles.
See, here's the thing. I think if Christian gets his way, you're not going to see that happen, because he's going to be able to plan things out to where it would be avoidable unless it comes to a championship.
And that's so we're gonna suppress one and push the other. Like, and that's where things get dicey. I mean, you could totally pull a good Inner Geekdom player with your first round pick, which I did. If you go with Smith, right, that has to be your ploy. You have to pull. You have to get Inner Geekdom first round, or Star Wars. You have to, or both if you can.
I mean, and let's be honest.
I'm not ruling out Mara though. I'm not ruling her out.
I have a gut feeling Mara might end up being drafted.
Ooh. The number one contender for Inner Geekdom, she didn't go in a draft?
Yeah.
Because like our boy Leo Logan posted in the Facebook group, exclusive to Patreon, we got the announcement first. Mara's match, the first pay-per-view of the year against Chandru, undercard Kelly Damon.
Mm-hmm.
The number one contender for Inner Geekdom going to the draft. I don't see it. I don't see it.
The only reason why is because I have a feeling you're gonna see teams try to stack up on these singles players, knowing there's a chance we could end up with more singles matches instead of IG to make up for teams. Like we don't know how these match weekly setups are gonna be yet.
Yeah. And I mean that's just that's something we have to assume or just take out of the picture entirely. I think, oh God, if you want to have a well-rounded 3, you have to have a player that does either IG, Star Wars, or both. In my opinion, to be well-rounded, obviously you want to have all divisions covered. I'm not ruling out Mara. As of right now, if I had to pick one, I'm picking Mara over Kevin. Plus, people are going to be hesitant to pick Kevin Smith anyway because of his relationship with Coy. And Kevin may not even choose to compete because he's not with Coy. It would be like another Mike Kalinowski, Shannon Barney situation.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning towards Mara sticking with Coy, but I reserve the right to change my mind by the end of this episode. But staying on Inner Geekdom for a second, speaking of locks, let's go to Swag, right?
Chandru's a lock.
Chandru's a lock. Paul's a lock.
Paul, I believe, is a lock.
Paul has to be a lock.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Paul does the heel turn of a century and leaves the Winston, which I don't believe will happen.
If he did, it would be for the dungeon, and I still don't think that would happen.
With how I think the dungeon's going to pan out, nope. Nah. Oh, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
No,
because that can fit into my dungeon plan.
Hold on. Since we're going into that, let's actually look at the dungeon next instead of Swag, because Swag is because the way you were just talking, I'd rather hear that than Swag, because it sounds like Swag we agree on for the most part. So let's hear your dungeon.
Well, my dungeon, how I got it panned out as of my notes from like 2 or 3 days ago. He's keeping Robert Parker. That's his IG.
Yep.
So he's going to keep Parker, whether we like it or not. He picked him second round after Smets. Same division in the draft this past season. So we have to keep that in mind. He believes in Robert Parker. He's going to keep Robert Parker. Now, the other two are the fun thing. Because he said in interviews that he wants to keep Video Drew and maybe she can get Tom and do the Tom Video Drew thing. That'd be a lot of fun to see. A Tom Video Drew, Robert Parker 3 going into the dungeon. But I think Kaiser has more pull than we like to think.
I think he's getting Bateman.
I also have him getting Bateman. Let's go! Let's go! I think he's going to get Ben.
I think he's going after Bateman and Tom, and then Drew as targeting Drew as his first, and then targeting Drew as his first round pick.
Oh my God! Okay, so because if you're Bateman, right, and Bateman's from the rumors that have been going around on from Frankie Numbers and from RTQ, repeat the question. Shout out to the boy. The rumors are like Bateman wants to team up with another top caliber player, another A tier at least. Tom's that A tier.
Yep.
Doing a Tom Bateman type of gimmick, their characters won't work too well together.
I think that honestly, I don't think that would work out.
So Bateman would only do singles, no teams.
I think
unless you draft a kick-ass teammate.
Well, no. I think Kaiser's got some trades up his sleeve. Because Christian has been on Twitter like, if the managers can pull off some of these moves that are being talked about, this is going to be insane.
And Christian, he's working the hell out of us. So Bateman, I totally agree with Bateman. I think he's gonna go to the dungeon as of this with Robert Parker. That third pick though has me all kinds of goofed up. But to tie this back to Swag, I wrote down Lon Harris.
See, Lon, I was about to say, Lon is the only other person I could think of.
I wrote down Lon because I don't think, not that Winston, or that he doesn't choose Winston, is that Winston won't pick him because of what I think is going to go to Swag.
Mm-hmm.
So, man.
So I actually, personally, I had our boy Lon going to, well, the Den.
Yeah, I thought about the Den too for Lon. Because Kate really switching it up at Spectacular gave me hope for the Den next season.
Yeah. But you want to know who I think is a wild card to go to the dungeon and team up with Bateman, who his first season seemed like a premier level player, and his second season struggled a little bit? Can you take a guess?
Is it Paul Preston?
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, snap. I had him going to the Den, but let's talk. Okay, so...
I would have agreed there, but I remember his how he reacted after his match where he lost with Tom. I think he wants to steer clear of that.
Okay. I like that.
To
Preston
me,
and Ben?
It makes more sense to put him with Ben because Paul's getting on this no-nonsense, I want to win type deal.
Ooh, I can get behind Preston going to the dungeon.
So we got Preston going to the dungeon?
Yeah, so Parker, Bateman, Preston, dungeon. That's another kick-ass. If we get the Robert Parker that everyone hyped up to begin 2020, holy hell. And if Preston's having that bounce back season legitimately everyone's expecting him to have, then holy shit. I'm ooh boy. Oh, that could be a kick-ass team.
All right. Well, now that we've talked about that, let's go to your swag plan. We both already said Paul and Chandru. Now, who's your third?
So this is what I'm slaying on, because at first I'm like, this makes so much sense. It's probably gonna happen because Swag likes to attract baby faces. That's just the vibe that Winston gives off. I'm not as sold on this as I was a couple days ago. My initial three for Swag, probably the best three of the bunch, honestly. Chandru, Oyama, and Merle. That was my third.
Actually, I'm still sold on this.
I'm like at a good 70%. I was at a 90 with Merle with Swag, but now I'm like at 70, and it drops as the more we talk about it.
No, see, I'm the exact opposite. For me, it's increasing the more that it's being talked about.
Because part of me still thinks he might go to the dungeon.
I don't.
He could be that Preston spot. He could.
See, but I think that's how you push Ben Bateman away.
By bringing in Dan?
I think Ben wants to be away from Dan.
That's not what Twitter made it seem like after Spectacular.
I know that's not what Twitter made it seem like, but I think that was just Ben just being like, welcome to the dark side. Welcome to the side that's been screwed over.
Ooh,
ultimately, hear me out. This is why I don't think it works. Bateman doesn't want to play in anyone's shadow.
Bateman wants to be he wants to be the A guy.
And he would be the A guy in the dungeon we just agreed on.
He would. See, Chandru, Oyama, and then you can have Merle, Oyama. Oh my god!
And see that I think that tandem, because then what else does that do? It pisses off one John Roca.
Yeah, because Roca, he's like a lock for the exchange. That's what Spectacular made it seem like. Mm-hmm. Holy hell!
It pisses off Roca. He goes to someone been able to pass, who people said could be greater than Roca.
Do you think after the great year Final Exam just had that Winston would be? Do you think he's going to split up? So we both are leaning towards him breaking up Final Exam after their first and only year together.
Yes.
Hypothetically.
Yes.
Holy shit! Isn't that crazy?
And I think the only reason why is because he realizes he can upgrade from Lon. Here's the thing: knowledge is what lost them some of those matches that they had. Lon wouldn't know those 5-pointers. Dan Murrell or Bateman give you the chance to know them and talk with Paul as he figures them out, or they figure them out together.
Heel Bateman does also give me Swag vibes. I wouldn't be surprised if Swag starts off a heel faction going into the draft.
See,
and I use that word heel loosely.
I can't agree with that for the sheer fact that all the work that they just put into Paul Oyama.
I mean, he can still be the same. He's be a little cocky shit. It's not too. Anyone could be a little dickhead if they really tried.
He was the dickhead season 1, and he didn't like it. Nobody liked him because of it.
I mean, I still think it's more likely that Merle's going to go to Swag than Bateman, 1,000%.
And I also don't think. And here's another reason why I say Bateman Swag wouldn't work. Once again, Bateman wants to be number 1, and he'd have Oyama just right there pushing him. They're virtually same level. Where Dan wants to be number 1, but Dan is okay with having 1A, 1B. Where Bateman has basically made it clear he's not.
I'm gonna keep Merle I'm down to keep Merle in the Swag spot, unless like something freaking crazy happens in the next couple. Because I'm not even gonna get too far ahead. But you mentioned John Roca, so do you want to talk about the exchange real fast?
Yeah, the exchange. I got Roca Barbarian, and I honestly
is Craig a lock? It was implied.
It was implied.
But it wasn't confirmed.
It wasn't confirmed. It was implied. I just think the way factions are panning out right now, how we have them, we got 3 factions left.
Yes.
So you look at those 3 factions left, and you're like, I don't see him working on that one. Like the exchange is the only one, and I loves the Barbarian. I think he absolutely loves the kind of player he is and what he brings to any squad.
I think the Barbarian can also go to the Suspects, because there's one spot in the Suspects that I think is just like a question mark, and it depends on IG. That's the one division that I'm focusing on when I say that. Obviously, Craig isn't just an IG player, but I will reserve my thoughts on the Suspects in a second. Because from what we understood from Spectacular, if I'm not mistaken, it's Roca, Barbarian, and Dimolanta.
Yeah. And I think...
Are we sold on those 3? I'll put Craig down I'll put Barbarian down for this.
And I think I am sold on those 3 because I don't see another top tier player that could, or on their way to being top tier player that could pair with Roca as well as Barbarian.
Oh no, I'm not saying Roca and Barbarian are like I think those 2 are fine. It's that 3rd spot in the exchange that's throwing me for a loop.
Yeah.
Like Dimolanta, are you sold on Dimolanta?
I think I am, and that's what I was getting into, because the only other way you're bringing someone else in is that they're not going to be able to fill that 3rd spot. Or if they're not going to be able to, they need to be able to give you something that you wouldn't have. And I think Dimolanta does that because of how killer he is in Star Wars. Granted, he had that flub at the end, but
this could be the most stacked team potentially of all of them, because they cover Star Wars too.
Yeah, but I think the sleeper pick for this is, and hear me out, Ben Goddard.
Definitely not what I thought you were going to say. Ben Goddard. The only thing that bothers me about Goddard is that him and Barbarian cover the same divisions, and I like the fact that Dimolanta is just Star Wars.
And see, that's the thing. I think that just, and we'll get into this because whenever we do our draft, when we get the draft list, part of me wants to do a mock draft based off of, we'll get some people in here based off of the lists we've created and see how they would go about it and why. And I think that would be something fun to do.
That would be, and again, it wouldn't be a WAP program unless we had our production meeting in the middle of the show. So are we gonna rock with Demolanta for now?
For now, I said Demolanta, but yeah,
I'll reserve my right to change Demolanta because I mean he's a killer at Star Wars. People are clamoring for him to beat Damon come next year if we get to that point, you know. Demolanta, but we've been talking about. Okay, so all we have left, two factions we haven't even touched. The Den and the Suspects. I think the Suspects are easier.
I got Ethan and LSM.
Yes. Who's that third?
Third is the one I haven't been able to figure out.
Let me throw a name at you. So you got Ethan. You have the tie to LSM, right? I think LSM, that's a damn team, bro. If I have ever seen a damn team in the Schmoedown, that's it.
In all
Ethan
honesty,
and LSM.
The name I would, now that I'm thinking about it, is a name I just threw out, Ben Goddard, because he'd be killer if he got to learn under Rachel Cushing.
Ooh, and just focus him on Inner Geekdom, maybe.
Focus. Well, he get the best of both worlds. He can learn the Inner Geekdom side of things from Rachel Cushing. He's already shown how good he. Let's be honest. He carried.
I like that.
He carried the Pride. So
he was the shining star of the Pride. Yes. And
when he played a singles matches, played very well too.
Mm-hmm.
I think you get three very solid singles players there.
Yeah, I like that player. Here, let me.
Yeah.
Not that I disagree with you, because I like that. I like Goddard.
No, I'd say, but throw your name at me.
I like Goddard in there. I like it a lot. Probably more than the name I'm going to mention. And this character, it's gonna. Oh, geez, because he's been acting up on social media since Spectacular. Brandon Hanna. Similar skill sets. We've seen Ben be a little better at singles and teams, but Hanna, his accuracy rate and Inner Geekdom, you can't ignore it. You can't, especially under Rachel. Holy shit,
you can't. But I think he's rubbed I think realistically, and I'm just being dead honest here. I think the only team who's willing to touch, there are two teams who'd be willing to touch Hanna with a 10-foot pole, and that is the Dungeon and the Finstock Exchange.
That'd be, since we brought up Hanna now, if it's not Demolanta, Hanna in that 3 spot would be cool too. But I don't know how he'd be with Roka. That's the downside.
That's why realistically the only one that, especially he's been in the videos with them. Sabrina's easier to get in the draft. Hanna could potentially be in the draft, and that could be your number 1 pick.
Hanna would be first round for sure if he falls hypothetically.
And here, put yourself in the Dungeon's position. You get Parker, you get Bateman, you get Preston. That first pick rolls around, number 1 overall. Hanna's not a bad pick because he could.
Hell no.
He could get you some in singles.
Yeah.
Get you some in IG.
Yeah. Because I mean, and whoever you pair him with in teams, if you get another good person in the draft,
you could potentially bring back the boss and the intern.
Ha! Ha ha! That damn intern. Arguably, he still is the intern.
Yep.
So oh man, I like Goddard.
Goddard's the one for me.
I like Goddard.
I just don't think the personality that Hanna brings meshes with anyone but the Dungeon right now. I can fall for the draft.
Yeah, I can rock with Goddard. Yeah, I can do Goddard.
And Goddard's kind of made it known, like he made it known even in the middle of the season. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm probably gonna look elsewhere, but we'll see."
And the den has changed, a lot facially, at least with Kate, or I should say vocally with Kate.
No, facially too, because that was a side of Kate I had never seen.
Makes you really happy too.
Yeah, it makes you really happy.
But now that's the biggest question mark.
The heel Kate we got all year was not a heel.
No, it wasn't.
And then we got heel Kate at the Spectacular. I'm like, oh goody.
Yeah, I liked this new Kate managing in the Schmoedown, but Her team's the only one with no real locks on it.
Yeah.
And that's what scares the hell out of me. Because now it's anybody. Like, we already picked out a bunch of these names, but now it's everybody.
I think she's the one who has to take swings for the fences.
Harris.
Yeah, Harris.
You got to start with Lon.
There's
no way Lon goes into the draft. No way.
The one I think she takes a flyer on because of how he has played, or how he played in his one singles match and how he's played in his team matches, Alonso Duralde.
Oh, shit! Wow! 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 Wow!
I think I just blew Chris's mind.
You said wow, because I'm looking up at my phone where I have my original list, and there's still some names I would take over Duralde. And no offense to Alon, like, I think he's great, but there's some names I'd take over him in a heartbeat.
Other names I'd take over him, yes, but she's in a position where she needs to make and take some big swings.
Now, I'm glad you said that. So, oh Jesus. This is hard. Not okay. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna say it. What if? So Harris, there's no way Lon falls into the draft. If he does, he's first pick automatically, and the dungeon will get him in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Now, let me throw this at you. Hypothetically, Janine the Machine and Marisol McKee. Hypothetically.
See, here's what I'll say. I think Marisol, like I said it up top. I don't think Marisol chooses to sign with anyone. Kate would be, but I know I to be honest, if she's going into the draft, Kate is the one I have taking her, Kate or the dungeon, because Kate just wants to spit in Shannon's face.
I think out of the 8 managers and 7 left that are not Shannon, I think 7 out of 7 would elect to choose Marisol out of spite.
Yeah.
Let alone, like, even though Marisol's a great player, but they would pick her out of spite against Shannon.
Yeah, no, it's.
Oh man.
Trying to find the standings.
But so, what about Janine though? Janine can cover your inner geekdom too. You get your IG, solid singles.
She's just, and this is the same issue I had with her last year, which is why I said that when Sam picked her before we started the show and we were just talking, I said she could be the steal of the draft if she isn't streaky.
And I know the season changed like 3 months in, but she competed twice.
There's like
3 times?
3 or 4 times. I think she was in the IG tournament and lost.
Yeah. So like,
and then we had the one against Warfather in October or something like that. But that was it. She didn't show me that she isn't streaky. And I love Janine. Janine is just like one of my favorite competitors. But it's hard to put her in the situation where she's locked.
Okay, let me throw another hypothetical at you. The Looney Bin, Tom and Video Drew.
That is, I think, and see,
you lack Inner Geekdom, you lack Star Wars because Lon's your third, but that's one hell of a 3.
And I was about to say, I think that would be the most realistic option if she's taking big swings, and Video Drew gets what she wants and she gets Tom. But Video Drew also has said, she wants to be with Kaiser. But
Tom just got done with Kate, and who knows how Tom feels about Kate. I just realized those cookies are behind you.
Yeah.
It's like Tom. We don't know Tom's feelings about Kate as manager. We don't.
You don't know Tom's feelings in general.
Yeah, we don't know if Tom feels. So I'm curious into Tom's POV on Kate and how he views the Den post spectacular, but Lon, Tom, and Video Drew. That's one hell of a 3.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, I mean, I want. Part of me thinks someone's going to take a swing on Janine. But at the same time, I will pick Tom over Janine. And honestly, I'll pick Video Drew over Janine.
Mm-hmm. Video Drew is streaky, but she's been
Video Drew's on the come up. She's on the come up.
She's been more consistent. Which, by the way, if you're watching this, January 7th on our horror show, Really Scared, we do have Video Drew coming on. Connor and Taylor will be talking to her about the horror film Baskin. Maybe a little bit of maybe a tiny bit.
Maybe. That's if we don't invade the show. Which odds are we probably will. So that's God. Okay. Honestly, let me throw another one at you. Actually, no, never mind. Because Jesus, this is
hers is the hardest one to pick. She's the biggest wild card in all of this,
which kind of makes it a good thing. It's good on her end because we have no idea what to expect out of Kate. We have no idea
whatsoever.
Especially if we have Preston going to the dungeon. You have Tom; he's still up in the air. Oh my God! I need to know who the hell. I kind of feel comfortable putting Tom in Video Drew as much as it may screw her to start with Intergeekdom and Star Wars being open.
The most sense.
As of right now, Tom and Video Drew. That's just Jesus. Because there's some other outliers, right? That we. Okay, so just so we can run these down real quick. Corruption, Locked, Kalinowski, Ellison, Collins. Right. The stars, and Draco, Snyder, and Damon. Great. Swag, according to us, Chandru, Oyama, and Merle. That scares the hell out of me. The Exchange, Roka, Barbarian, and Dimilanta. Are we sold on Dimilanta at that 3?
Yes, we agreed on that.
Because hell.
Like I
does Janine go? Does she commit to that heel character she used to have and go with Finstock and join the Exchange?
No. Finstock is all about winning, and I don't think he won. Here, last year he took a chance on a Janine type player, and that was Emily Rose Jacobson.
She played once, right? Twice?
Like once or twice. But my point is, he took a shot on a possible upstart, and I think he's going to try to build his foundation with proven talent, even in the first couple of picks. Dimilanta, proven. Barbarian, proven. Roka, proven.
Okay, yeah, I'm cool with Dimilanta. Now the Mercs, Bibbs, you got Meyer, and I'm not fully sold on Smith at that 3. I wrote down Kanopik. I'm still thinking Mara is going to rock with Koi.
Let's do this. Let's say Mara / Kevin. I think I get where you're coming from, but I also think that her looking elsewhere is true.
No, I also believe that's true. Where though? That's the question. Because I mean, the suspects, her working with Rachel.
What if Mara?
What'd you say?
What if Mara's the den?
Who do you kick? Who do you boot then? Because the den, as far as we have it, is Harris, Tom, and Video Drew.
We got to get rid of both Video Drew and Tom and figure out who that.
Then what the what, bro? Okay, no, wait. Who's that? You gotta sell me on it. Who's that second one then? If we're booting Video Drew and Tom, who's that second pick? You go with Mara.
No. Let's just boot Video Drew.
You're on crack.
Think about Lon with Tom.
But is Tom on the same side as Video Drew and wanting to team together?
We don't know that, but we're just thinking as Kate as a manager. We have to try to get in her mind. And right now, as we just said, she's the wild card.
Do we know what pick she has? Because she may still be able to pick up Video Drew.
She has the 3rd pick. She would have the 3rd pick because the Droogs are out, so it goes Dungeon, Suspects, Den, Mercs, Finstock, Rockstar, Swag, Corruption.
What? That's wild. Okay. That's crazy. Sam has the 2nd pick, and he really about to start with some killers. So you say Lon, Tom, and Mara Kanopik, bruh?
Mm-hmm.
And you're keeping Kevin with the Mercs?
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts my face. Oh man.
Plus,
Oh man. Man, again, I'm not convinced, bro.
I know you're not convinced, but
Oh no. Mara to the den. Because if I'm Mara, I'm sticking with Bibbs and Meyer.
yeah,
On paper?
I get that. But what if she didn't have a choice last year? She now has a choice.
Plus, Kate is probably going to be a heel ski. Mara's not going to be down with that. Because Coy's uber mega ultimate baby face. You can't boo Coy. You can boo the hell out of Kate. No offense, Kate. But you can boo Kate, you can't boo Coy.
I kind of think I'd like to see Mara as a heel.
You're on crack again! Dude, how the hell? Mara, when has Mara... her entire career, she's combated against heels, bro.
I know. But she's always had that mischievous, smart ass thing going.
And imagine with Coy at full strength, bro. Because with Mara... Like, if you keep Mara with Jandra, all right, this could be interesting. And on paper, if this is the Mara that we're expecting, a kick-ass Mara, like I could beat Rachel Cushing in Sudden Death Mara, then she's going to put up a fight against Chandru. She may be the damn champ going into the regular season.
She could be. I'm just saying, it wouldn't shock me if she goes elsewhere. I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked. I think part of me thinks Mara wants to be with a female manager. I'm just going to flat out say it.
See, that's how you should have led. Because, I mean, the only thing that's leading me against Kate is I think Kate's going to take on a heelish persona. Not really be a heel, a damn dirty heel, but I think she'll be like heelish. She won't be like how Winston would be in Chandru's matches, like heel-ish. Won't be a heel, but he'll have heelish tendencies. I think that's what Kate's going to be. Oh, man. You boot Video Drew and you keep telling.
Because
fine.
Kate has that number 3. If it weren't for the fact Kate has the number 3, I wouldn't have gone with that. Kate has the number 3.
And she can... hell. But then that begs the question if Video Drew's top 3 talent in the draft, first round. But who knows? Tom may not be on the same wavelength and putting the Looney Bin back together.
Yeah.
So who the hell knows? You know what? Fine. I'll put Mara with the Den on my board. But I part of me still leaning towards her over Smith for the Mercs. If you're Coy, you're thinking long term. Mara to me is better long term than Smith, especially if Smith doesn't play Inner Geekdom. All right. So with that being said, our Mercs, Bibiani, Meyer, Kevin Smith. Right? The Den, Harris, Tom, Mark Knoppick. All right. The suspects. This is a killer team, bro. Yeah, Irwin, LSN, and Ben Goddard. Dude, That's a killer team, bro. To me, honestly, like before we came to the conclusion on the suspects, I'm like, yo, on paper, as of right now, swag on our boards, on crack. But
the
suspects rival them.
Keep this in mind. Sam Levine also has the 2nd overall pick.
Which is insane!
So he's
getting Marisol.
No. In my mind, he's got to get a Star Wars player possibly. They probably know how big Star Wars is going to be involved. If Star Wars
we'll see with the picks. Yeah. We'll see with the picks.
And if Star Wars is heavily involved, he's going Laura Kelly or Joseph Scrimshaw.
Woo! I'd go. Ooh, that's tough. That's a coin flip, dude.
That's what I said. I'm not trying to choose between the two because it is a coin flip.
That's what I said. Both. Yeah, that's a toughie. I think, and I don't want to give these players flack. The ones that are just Star Wars, I think they'll slide second round. They're going to be like quarterbacks, right? They're like there's a decent amount of them, and they're going to.
That's not how quarterbacks work in the NFL, homie.
when you go, I'm saying draft, and like if you do fantasy draft, right? You're not picking a quarterback with your first pick.
I see. You got to remember, I'm looking at this in
I'm thinking about this. We're fantasy picking these mofos.
No, don't think of this as a fantasy draft. We're trying to get in the head of these managers as how they're really going to draft this as a sport.
And I believe that Star Wars, unless they know something we don't, obviously because they're a part of it, but I'm thinking Star Wars will still slide, especially with the names we left off of this thing.
And it could slide. I'm just saying the realistic analogy you're thinking of for football is a linebacker. Linebackers are the ones who slide into the latter rounds because you can get a quality linebacker in the 4th or 5th.
And I'm not even talking about the actual college draft. I'm talking about fantasy draft you do with your friends.
But
you don't pick a linebackers. I know that, sports ball. But look, I'm still saying, right? Like I'm still picking. If it's a Star Wars player or a player that's on the caliber of Janine, Marisol, Andrew Guy,
So I'm gonna be honest. I think Guy slides because of the storyline. Just saying,
Guy's gonna slide. I think it's the word. Yeah, he's second round at the earliest.
Yeah,
which is really I hate it. I hate saying that, but he's gonna slide unless someone takes a real shot with him.
What if he slides all the way to corruption?
Don't get me excited, bro. Don't even say that. Don't even say that.
Right.
So yeah, suspects: Irwin, LSM, Goddard. Arguably that's one of the better factions to start off with going into the draft.
Yep.
And then the dungeon. Same thing can be said for the dungeon: Parker, Bateman, Preston.
Yeah.
These are solid, and like I said, we left off some names. Brandon Hanna, we can't sleep on Hanna. Guy, McKee, Janine. Who else do we leave off? That's Video Drew. Just on my thing. I know there's obviously a bunch of other players, but there gonna be some good ones. There are gonna be some real good ones that really, that are just gonna slip through the top 24. And I wrote down in my thing, if you can see it, 8 factions really F word on my predictions because I was expecting 10. We talked about it on the show last week. I was expecting 10 factions.
You were expecting someone else to take over the Druids and then the
Shmominati.
Your own faction, yeah.
So I expected a top 30, not 24, because that condensed those 6 players. Those are the top 6 picks in the draft, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm in the thought process of like these eight factions and how they're going to start. These aren't necessarily the top 24 players of the league.
It's what fits those managers.
Yeah, it's what fits those teams and those situations. Because honestly, these are all pretty damn good teams.
Yeah,
they're all pretty damn great.
They're nice starting blocks. They are very nice starting blocks.
To me, again, that Kevin Smith one throws me. It still throws me for a loop.
Can I say, if I'm looking at this, the teams I would feel most comfortable being a part of are rooting, or like saying they had the best shot, just based off of the 3 we've predicted.
Are way too early predictions for the faction war.
Yes. Swag and the suspects. Those would be my 2 right now.
I totally agree with you on both of those. I also want to throw in. You can't sleep on corruption. We slept on them to begin the year, and look how they ended. So we can't sleep on corruption.
They got because of free agency pickup in the middle of the season.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it because now he's here. He's here.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they got where they are because of a great free agency pickup in the middle of the season.
And now I can't wait to have a full season of Adam Collins. Imagine that. Now it's scary as hell.
Just like I am in my fantasy championship because great free agent pickups in the middle of the season.
And I mean, great. It's part of the strat, but now we get a whole season of Adam Collins, and I can't wait to see it. Yeah. So corruption, don't sleep on corruption. Honestly, the Stars, I keep calling them Rocks. The Stars, we can't sleep on them either, especially if Star Wars has a bigger presence. Because Alex Damon's still going to run roughshod on Star Wars.
You got to sleep on him because he might get and hear me out, it's because he might only get like one or two more matches, and because he's with being champion, he may only get one or two more extra matches throughout the year.
He can play Inner Geekdom in the meantime.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, he can cover your Inner Geekdom too. I forgot about that. But
for now,
you said you had brought up Star Wars specifically, and that's what hit the pause button real quick.
And there's something I wanted to mention not too long ago when we were talking about the Star Wars players. Obviously, they're to your point, how you mentioned Sam might pick up a Star Wars player off the bat with that second pick, and you mentioned Scrimshaw or Kelly. One of them has a match at a pay-per-view this year to start.
Yep.
So that's probably your pick. That or Molly, however you feel better with. You want the other half of Star Wars explained, or you want Laura Kelly?
I think Sam would like to take a chance on Molly. That's just me personally.
If I had to pick one, I'm assuming Molly too. Molly would fit better into that three that we got into the suspects.
And I think she fits better on that, just with a Sam Levine in general, than a Laura Kelly would.
Especially if Laura Kelly's still going to be a little heely to start the year. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we can't sleep on corruption. We can't sleep on the stars. Low key, the exchange can be really damn good too. With Barbarian covering the Inner Geekdom portion while Dimolanta does Star Wars. That's the most complete team of the ones that we did by far, in my opinion. Because Barbarian's a better IG player than Damon is on the stars. You can put Roka and Barbarian together as a team. Obviously, they're two great singles players, and Dimolanta rules Star Wars. People are saying he's going to beat Damon to start the year.
Yeah.
So we also got to keep that in mind.
Yeah. But I think with that, that's it, because next week we are doing our awards predictions, and then probably the week after that, that way it also gives us some time. We will try to get some special guests on to do a fantasy draft based off of these rosters that we have set.
Yeah, because these 24, I'm confident with these. And honestly, what was the date for the free agency special?
The 22nd, yeah.
Okay, so when that drops, which is so late in the month, by the way, I thought we were expecting it like the second week, the 15th.
I thought we were going to get the awards the 8th, the special the 15th, and then the draft on the 29th. I still thought the draft was going to be on the 29th, but I thought he'd give 2 weeks of time before the draft.
Especially with the season starting mid to late February.
Yeah.
That pay-per-view that has Chandru, Kanopik, Kelly, Damon may begin the season. That
is what begins the season, if I remember.
So, is that confirmed? That's going to be the.
I'm pretty sure he said it at Spectacular.
Well, he said it'll be the first thing we see, or the first pay-per-view of the year. But is that going to be the first thing that we see of season 8?
He always opens up with the pay-per-view. That's why I say that.
So if that's the case, we're gonna have one geeky ass pay-per-view to start the year. I'm really excited for that. It's gonna be really, really cool, especially with the implications for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But this draft, how the draft's gonna pan out, again, there are so many names we didn't mention, but not to give them or to discredit them, but these are the rumors. A lot of the rumors are around these players. A lot of the names you see thrown around are these people. A lot of the names that are being locked are these people. These are the top players that they stayed in their faction. That's probably because they did really well in their faction this year or this past season. Like Shazam, Oyama with swag, and Chandru still the IG champ, So it's going to be one interesting ass couple weeks. And who knows, something crazy can happen. But after we record this and we put it up, and we're going to have a little a freaking amendment into our show next week when we talk about the awards, hopefully live and not pre-taped, for the love of God, and for Chris's sake. But I really do think this is a decent ass 24 to start the year.
I concur.
This is gonna rule. And again, we apologize for not being able to go live this week. It really was a bummer, but we're still wanting to give you guys a show, and I feel like it's exactly what we did. We did an hour plus on just talking free agency.
We did the Molbach minute. The Molbach minute.
We did a 60-minute Iron Man match with just 28 names, just 24 names. I can't count, but I'm so over the moon on these, and I can't wait to talk awards next week.
All right. With that being said, thank you guys for tuning in on this pre-recorded episode of Spin from the Reel. And once again, I am Matt. This is the amazing, the personality, Chris Anthony Lopez.
Follow us on Twitter, Spin from the Reel.
Yes, and remember, folks, spin from the reel, not the peg. Have a good one.